Hey guys, so in this video I'm going to be showing you basically the start of my fall garden prep here in Texas. I'm adding some new beds to my garden, like in a new area. Just kind of expanding on what I had last year. So this is the second fall growing season in this house where we're at right now. Yeah, just going to be showing you like adding the compost, planting, and then just like what I am planting in my fall garden right now. I do apologize for the wind in like the first minute or two of the video. I have realized that I definitely need to invest in some wind muffs for my camera if I'm going to be filming outside, because it is constantly windy here in the fall. So yeah, next video I promise the sound will be much better. If you can get through the first minute or so, and who knows, I may just like totally mute that while I'm editing, I don't know, but yeah, I apologize in advance for that, but the rest of the video is pretty good. So I have my original garden here behind me that I did last year, and I filled it with veggies, and it did really good. Like, it produced a bunch, but for things like broccoli and cabbage and just like plants that are a little bigger, they did take up a lot of space here. So this year I'm going to build some other like beds, and I'm going to put them in our yard so I can put the bigger plants inside that. And then here I planted broccoli, not broccoli, I planted beets and carrots. I planted some onions from seed. We'll see how they do. I planted flowers along the fence here, so you can see, like, I have the zinnias there already. And then I think I'm gonna do my tomatoes. I have tomato plants ready to be put in the ground, so I think I'm gonna put those here also. And then I don't know what else. Oh, also planted some bok choy as well. So we have this corner of our yard where they had to dig it up last year at the beginning of the summer to do some work, and the grass just never really grew back right there. So this is where I'm gonna put a couple garden beds. We'll see, I might add more just to see how many plants I can fit in there. My goal is to grow enough things where I have enough to actually can some vegetables. So we'll see how that goes, if I can get enough crop to actually do well. As you can see, I have the boards here, and I'm just gonna, frame them into a rectangle garden bed, and then I'm just gonna take some compost. So right here, I'm just putting the garden beds together. I'm starting with 2, and I'm just using, I think they're 1.5 by 6 boards that I just had, just found around the house. I was originally going to get cedar boards, but I had these, so I figured I might as well just use them. And these beds are honestly so simple. I just screw the 4 corners together, and yeah, I think it took me like maybe 30 minutes between cutting the boards and putting them together, and my battery did die here, so I didn't finish filming the whole thing, but yeah, super easy. Okay, so my battery died while I was putting those together. You can see it is much sunnier out, so it's the next day. But yeah, I got the beds together, and even though it's really sunny, it is really nice out today. It's like 74, it's beautiful, perfect day to plant. So I am about to fork the compost in those, and then we'll add some plants. So right here, I'm just adding some compost to each bed, and I got this from my local recycling center. So if you have a recycling center, I would highly encourage checking out if they do compost and mulch, because it's a really cost-effective way to get good compost and good mulch. I think each of these bags were those like $2 and some change.
So super decently priced, especially when you compare it to like Lowe's or something like that. And then I also added some cow manure, which is what I'm adding here. I just added half a bag to each, and I did get that from Lowe's, but it adds lots of nitrogen to the soil and all that good stuff. So once I got that added to the soil, then I just went ahead and forked it all in. So since I'm planting broccoli, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, like cruciferous veggies, I usually buy seed starts for these because they just do so much better than seeds. I can get seeds to come up, but because it's so hot here for so long, and then, you know, by the time it cools off enough, like it's time to have them in the ground. So it's really just works out the best if I just get the starting plants from either Lowe's or my local garden center. I'm also planting some marigolds because they are supposed to help prevent pests getting on your plants. It has been like a week since I planted these, and there has been a couple worms that have gotten to the Brussels and the cauliflower plants, so I don't know, clearly not working for those, but maybe you just have to plant a whole bunch. I'm not sure, but marigold plants are so dang expensive.
These two are loving the fact that we've been outside for basically 3 hours. That one, well, both of them honestly, but she's our solar powered dog, and she like switches back and forth between laying out in the sun and then coming back in the shade, and then like chewing on sticks, all the fun things, huh? Okay, so I got this bed completely planted, and I planted Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, broccoli, cabbage, and then the rest of the broccoli that didn't fit here, there. I still don't know what I'm gonna plant there yet, but we'll see. I will definitely come up with something. But yeah, I did the Brussels sprouts at this end because they get a little taller, and this is the north side of the bed, so this will get the most north wind when it does get cold. So I'm hoping that they will help, you know, just kind of block the wind from everything else. But all of these plants are frost tolerant, so they really do pretty good in the cold.
And if you don't live in Texas and you don't know, especially where I live, like I said, our growing season is not in the summer like most people's gardens are, because it's just too hot. Like we had over 110 days this year that were over 100 degrees. So yeah, nothing survives. So between like June and September, we really can't grow anything unless you're growing it in a greenhouse or in the shade. So our growing season is in the fall, and then you can do a lot of things, like all of these things that I just planted, because they're frost tolerant. You can plant those through the winter, and it doesn't get cold enough here. Like we don't get hardly any days, well, really any days ever. I can only remember like one time where it actually stayed below freezing all day. So it really just frosts at night, and you know, then it gets warm enough during the day. So all of the frost tolerant plants survive. So broccoli, cabbage, Brussels, all that stuff, root vegetables like carrots and beets, they're all great in the wintertime. So you can grow that through the winter, and then you can get another spring crop. So it's kind of nice because you can do almost like 2 spring crops, but you do them in the fall. So like, you know, like cucumbers and squash, I planted those already, and they're already up and growing. So I'm hoping I can get some before the frost comes. And oftentimes, like if you cover them, they'll do pretty good like with the first frost. But yeah.